The 4 wealth builders of real estate. There are tons of benefits to real estate, but I'm gonna focus on my 4 favorite ones. Number 1, cash flow. This is probably what you guys hear the most in the industry, real estate. Honestly, I think it's overhyped, and you'll see what I mean. What cash flow means is how much income I'm generating from a single property minus all the expenses. Cash flow does not mean your rents minus whatever your mortgage is. You're gonna lose money on your rentals if that's how you calculate it. You need to add up your insurance, your property tax, your estimated fixes that you're gonna have every month, and then saving for your big fixes like roof, water heater, furnace. You wanna save little bits every month for that as well. That's what we call CapEx, capital expenditure. Don't let this overwhelm you. When you get there, it'll be a lot easier, especially with ChatGPT. What expenses do I need to look at when I'm buying a rental property? Just make sure you go through all of them. So all income from your property minus all expenses is your cash flow. Appreciation. This is the part that I think is underutilized and not talked about enough in comparison to cash flow. Appreciation is where the majority of wealth is created in real estate. Cash flow is nice, and with time, it's gonna get better and better. And it's one of my favorite parts about cash flow, but too many people see cash flow and they see short-term lens. They say, I want cash flow today, so I'm gonna buy some funky house because the numbers make a lot more sense. I'm gonna short-term rental, 1 bedroom, long-term rental. There are too many people that get so sucked into cash flow that they forget my favorite part about real estate, which is appreciation. Appreciation is what happens is when your properties increase value over time. We're looking at way less cash flow, but a lot more appreciation. If you want cash flow, go to Ohio, go to Arkansas, go to Oklahoma, and I guarantee in 5 years, you're gonna wish that you were in Utah. My reason for saying that, guys, I have talked to so many freaking people in this industry. The amount of people that invest out of state for cash flow, if one thing happens to their property and they're less involved and they feel like they're being nickel and dimed by their property manager, their contractor, whatever it might be, there are so many more headaches with out-of-state investing, especially at the beginning of your career. So where I'm gonna harp on appreciation again, Oklahoma, Ohio, all these states, their appreciation is very minimal and they don't grow a lot because they're less desirable. That's why the home prices are less. That's why they don't grow as fast. And if you're buying an asset, usually you want it to be in a more desirable location. You're gonna attract better tenants. Your property is gonna increase in value way faster, and it's gonna be a cleaner process through and through. So I am a huge fan of investing in your backyard at the beginning of your career. And it just so happens that you guys are in the best economy in the entire country and one of the best real estate markets in the entire country. I don't just say that. I only buy in Utah right now. I say that biased because I'm an agent that sells in Utah, but I also back up my words. The hard part, cash flow seems more obvious. Appreciation is more speculative. In 10 years, we have no idea what's gonna happen, but at the same time, we have so many years of history that backs up appreciation markets. So as much as it seems speculative, it's very data driven. I'm not just throwing $100,000 in Utah on pure speculation. There's a lot of data that backs. For example, in high appreciating markets, they claim, and it's happened, that in 10 years, your property's value will double. I know that's a crazy concept, but if you think about where home prices were in 2015, they've definitely doubled in Utah. So the fact that a $500K house today can be worth $1 million in 10 years seems insane, but it's our reality. We're at such a huge shortage of homes in Utah, it's absolutely wild. Now another point, let's name some of the most expensive states in America. New York, Hawaii, California, Washington, 4 of the most liberal states in America. Investing in liberal states, we'll set aside political agendas right now. When you are investing in liberal states, they favor tenant laws way more than they do landlord laws. So for example, I've been through 3 evictions in my real estate career. An eviction is where people aren't paying their rent, and so you have to kick them out of their property. In Washington, in Seattle, in California, they help the people that aren't paying you way, way more than they help you as the landlord. It's taken me 6 months to kick people out of my property that haven't been paying me for months. I've had to pay someone $3,000 to get out of my property that hasn't been paying me for 5 months. That's what a state that favors tenants more than the investor that's taking the risk. That's what happens. So going at these high appreciation markets is massive, but when you pair that with Utah, a red state that favors landlords, it couldn't be more obvious on why you should be buying rental property in Utah. If you want to look at growth and you're second guessing growth, you go to Utah City, Vineyard, a 700-acre massive development that they're throwing $1 billion plus into. You go to Draper, Bluffdale area, another 600, 700-acre development that they're throwing $1 billion. It is so obvious the growth of Utah. This is why I am stressing the urgency of buying rental properties, because it's not going to get cheaper anytime soon. That's a huge tangent on appreciation, but I think it's important. The next part, tax benefits. Real estate, for whatever reason, they love people in the real estate industry. The cool part, I'm going to talk very briefly about a tax law. The IRS has an identification called real estate professional status. You do not have to be a licensed realtor. You don't have to have a license of any sort to get real estate professional status. What you have to do is you have to qualify, meet certain requirements, which is 750 hours in the real estate industry, which could be managing property, which could be looking for deals, and then it has to be 50% more of the hours that you're putting into whatever businesses you're in. The cool part is if you're married, filed jointly, your wife can also get real estate professional status. What real estate professional status does is it transitions real estate as passive income in the IRS's eyes into active income, which means you can offset a lot more taxes against your active income. And keep in mind, a lot of my clients are door-to-door. A lot of my clients are not real estate agents, but they still qualify for real estate professional status. But once you hit that classification, this is what it can do. I bought a property for $700,000. It's a triplex in Mill Creek, South Salt Lake border. It's a seller finance deal, and I essentially did what we call a cost segregation study, and I am accelerating a lot of that depreciation. I know a lot of these words can seem like mumbo jumbo, but all I'm doing is I'm buying a property and I'm using that property to offset my active income. And so I took $100,000 from buying that property and wiped out $100K of my active income that I make in my job that I don't have to pay taxes on. So if you made $100,000 in a summer and you went and bought a property, you can wipe out all, if not a big chunk of the taxes that you have to pay. And this is not sketchy. This is in the IRS tax code. They want you to follow the rules, and that is a rule that you can follow. Now, leverage. Let's say I have $100,000. If I put that in the stock market, my $100,000 is working for $100,000, right? If I get an 8% return on that, that is amazing, but it's working only on $100,000. If I buy a $500,000 property and put 100K down or 50K down, and that asset moves at a 5% appreciation, which is only one part about real estate, it's gonna work a lot harder than 100K at 8% because you're borrowing money, which is good debt, not bad debt, whatever Dave Ramsey or your parents say. Investing while you're young. Raise your hand if you know Warren Buffett. If you don't, please go research Warren Buffett, guys. He's the best investor the world's ever seen by far. It's insane what this guy's done. Warren Buffett says the 8th wonder of the world is compound interest. Compound interest, go look it up on ChatGPT. I love that I can just do that. I don't want to explain it in depth, but it's when your money, now I'm explaining it. Let's say $100,000, you get 10%, now you're at $110,000. The next year, you're not getting 10% on $100,000, you're getting 10% on $110,000. And as that grows and grows, it's massive what it can do. And here's a prime example. If you start buying a rental a year for 10 years at age 25, the retirement value in equity, again, the net worth you have in that property is 3.2 million. These are estimates, and 10,000 a month in cash flow. Buying one rental a year for 10 years, starting at age 35, the retirement value is 1.1 million and only 3,500 a month in cash flow. Keep in mind, you're buying the same amount of rentals. The same amount of rentals. You're not buying any additional, but with this example, you have 2 million more in equity and 6,500 a month more in rental income because rents go up and you're paying off the principal too. It's absolutely wild, guys. Like, investing while you're young can absolutely change your future.